Okay, so I'd really love to invite anyone who would like to play. I want to talk over while you're playing your beautiful music. Please come up and have a play. I'll just quickly explain the controls. But please form a line. I'm sure many of you are so keen to be up here making music in front of a crowd. So just using this little grip button on this side of the controller. So when you put your cube hand inside of the drawer, just grip it and pull it out.
Okay.
Great.
Yep.
You can go ahead, just eyes first, and then on the back, there's a little screw to tighten. Cool. And I'll hand the controllers to you if you hold your hands out. Okay, there's one.
Thank you.
And there's the other one. Cool. See, it's just under your first finger.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to turn you down a bit. Go for it. Cool. Okay, while that's happening, I'll talk about just how this started. So for the last few years, I've been making sort of musical environmental games, but this is the first one that's in VR. And through that, I've been able to explore just that extra amount of musicianship that can come through when you're using your physical body instead of just a mouse and keyboard. And I've also just found that, especially when musicians play it, they have this really innate sense of pacing and feel and texture that just comes through their arms in a really easy way. But also non-musicians tend to have a lot of fun with this as well. So this work in particular was commissioned by the Women in Music Festival, which most of you know that I'm non-binary, so that was quite interesting, but they paid a lot, so it was great. So it premiered in March this year at a sort of classical music lovers festival, and some of you may know that I also quit teaching at the end of last year due to coming out as non-binary in a really unsupportive workplace and facing a lot of harassment from there. So the 40-minute composition that is in the instrument at the moment acted as a lot of closure for me, sort of being able to perform this at a women's music festival, but also moving back towards my art being a larger part of my life and art being a lot cheaper to make than therapy. So it's been really, really wonderful for that reason, yeah. I'd like to take any questions and just sort of riff off that, if that's cool. Yeah. There are mics, apparently. You can just shout, though, if you want. I can hear you.
I'm very curious to hear why you chose drawers. I think this is amazing.
Yeah. So Matt's asking what I chose drawers, or Heath. Heath. Matt, you got it right. There's someone else I met called Heath recently. Look, a lot of the games that I was making beforehand were very like just press on and off. You know, it's like, here's a loop, press it on, or here's a trigger and things like that. So at the very least, being able to control volume was something that I wanted. But then moving towards that sort of musicianship phase, just going to make sure no one's hitting me in the head. I wanted to explore what happens when you draw it out slowly and when you draw it out fast. And, you know, can the expression change there? And I did try to write something, but I found out that I was a horrible writer. But now I'll pay someone to do that. I had an example where if you draw it out slowly, then some dialogue might come out that says, I had a steady week. And if you draw it out like a medium, sort of casually, you'd be like, I had a tough week. And if you draw it out really fast, then you'd be like, really fucked this week. And then similar with, I'm a guitarist. If you drew it out softly, then maybe it's a classical nylon guitar that plays this phrase. And if you draw it out real hard, then it's like drop D, fucking metal, the same phrase. Yeah. Does anyone else want to turn? No, keep going. Cool. Yes. So, the mic's moving around.
Maize, and I was just wondering, how do you memorize the positions of all the drawers of each of the instruments?
Yeah.
How did you categorize them, or is it part improvisation?
Yeah. So Megan asked me this question beforehand as well. So they are different colours, and for me, the different colours correspond to just different sections within the 40-minute composition. So, yeah, they're really unhelpful for everyone else, but most people don't seem to mind. There's 3 different audiences who have really tried this, and it's musicians, VR, AR developers, and game designers. And it's the game designers that have the most sort of problem with it, which makes sense, but I don't care. Do you want to turn? No. Yeah.
Okay. Just the way it works, is it generally sort of...
I'm just going to grab the controllers off you.
Yes.
Cool. You can take the headset off. Pass it to this guy. Sorry, I'm listening.
That's all right. So is there generally sort of one sound loop in each draw and then one kind of effect parameter linked to the movement of the draw?
A lot of them are quite different. So the ones that are loops, then it's just volume that's changing. The ones that are synths, you'll notice some of them start off like wah, and then it goes wah, 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 and there's a lot of different synth parameters that change
the
that.
LFO or something, I guess.
Yeah. There are some where, because I'm using Wise, which is an audio middleware at the moment, there's a lot of built-in stuff like according to how far it's open is how often the samples in that container play. So there was a crash one, which if you open it a little bit, it's just every 1 sec, that one. And if you open it all the way, then it'll start going yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, but there's a fair few different kinds, yeah. Then the Atmos is very gamey, yeah.
Hi, beautiful performance. Thanks for that. From your perspective, do you see this more as an instrument or more of a tool, I guess? You kind of said that you wrote a composition and it's in there. Is it the intention for you to place many different compositions in there, or I don't know, I kind of want to know more kind of where it's going or what you really wanted from it?
So the answer for that has come a lot from the audiences as I'm showing it at different conferences and performing it. For me, at the start, it was very much, it's just an instrument and I can put all of my sounds in it and different behaviours. Just the fact that it's drawers in a space, that's the instrument. But as I was talking to an audio engineer in Sydney and they were like, oh, it's really cool that it's just a huge draw instead of a tiny fader. And I was like, yeah, I freaking get that. I get that so much. Like, you all saw me moving quite slowly and quite specifically, which you just can't do on a tiny little fader. So, you know, maybe its next evolution is on HoloLens so that they can have it in their studio. But I definitely want to be moving towards virtual concerts and getting this into places like Altspace or Wave and things like that. And having performances with everyone in the safety of their own homes. Yeah.
Cool. I think that's all the time we have for questions. Can we have a huge round of applause for Maize, please?